Hello, everybody, and welcome to Talk About, your weekly news show where I, Alex Brown, gather the top gaming headlines from the past week and discuss them with you. This week's headlines include Red Dead Redemption 2 having a PS4 and Nintendo Switch port, a potential release window for Grand Theft Auto 6, details on the future for Destiny 2's Commander Zavala, and the reveal of a new Ninja Turtles game. I'll be discussing all of these news headlines and more on this episode of Talk About. And then, of course, if I had a cool intro, once again, this is where it would play, but I don't have one. I should probably do one if I'm going to keep bringing up the fact that I don't have one. We'll see what happens. By the way, if those news stories sounded like I'm missing something, make sure it doesn't happen next week by heading to the link in the description below where you can submit potential news stories for me to talk about, the ones that you think I should not miss and that I need to talk about. Also on that link, you can submit potential topics of discussion because, sometimes we got to fill for time if it's a slow news week, and I got to tell you, this was kind of a slow news week. So as you can tell by the thumbnail, we are filling for time in the second half, but we'll get to that later. First things first, before we get into the news from the headlines, let's talk about me for a second, all right? Let's talk about this channel for a quick moment. I'm sure if you have been, at least two of you have seen that there is a new video uploaded to the channel, and that is, in fact, the next video essay. And as you can see, it is there. YouTube Premiere, it is waiting for you. It says, or the title, it is called The Games Industry and the Fear of Risk, a video essay. And yes, it's up there, and the YouTube Premiere, very long time away. And I'm going to give you a little peek behind the curtain as to why that is. I did not expect it to get uploaded so quickly. I uploaded that Thursday, I believe. This is now Sunday by the time you're listening or watching to this. And I uploaded it on Thursday, this past Thursday, with the thought process of, or it's definitely the video where I've used the most outside clips, you know what I mean? Like trailer footage. It's the most footage I've used in a video essay. So I assumed something was going to get flagged for copyright reasons. And I was like, okay, I'm going to upload this version 1, see what gets flagged, and then I'll see what was flagged, edit those out, and switch them out with something else. See if that gets uploaded with no problems. You know what I'm saying? And it turns out there were 0 copyright issues whatsoever with the video. So I was like, oh, well, it's up. And I can't release it now because I would like to release it on a day I am off from work. And the next time I'm off from work is Tuesday, which, yes, is a different day than I initially revealed for the release date. I moved it up 25 hours because it just felt right. Seeing as how it's done and ready and is just waiting for the unlock now, I just thought, hey, let's move it up. I'm excited. I hope you get excited for it too. But with that out of the way, let's move into the headlines of the week. Starting with the first news story from this past week, Red Dead Redemption re-release comes to Switch and PS4 August 17th. That would be this Thursday, I believe. This comes from TheVerge.com by Andrew Weber and Wes Davis. Looks like Red Dead Redemption is moseying onto the Switch and PS4 and the PS5 via backwards compatibility. Rockstar Games announced today, a couple days ago, that the new conversion is courtesy of Double 11, which was founded by former Rockstar developers in 2009. The game launches for the two systems on August 17th, more than a decade after it first showed its hide on the PS3 and Xbox 360. That version is already compatible with newer Xbox consoles. It was followed by a gigantic sequel in 2018, the The releases will also include the non-canonical Undead Nightmare single-player campaign that pitted John Marston against hordes of zombies. Red Dead Redemption will cost $49.99 in the Nintendo eShop and the PlayStation Store, while physical releases are expected on October 13th. The game will support several new languages, simplified and traditional Chinese, Korean, Polish, Brazilian, Portuguese, Russian, and Latin American Spanish. So there's something there. There's something to talk about there, okay? It's odd because if you recall, this wouldn't have been news if it weren't for a few, I believe, patents, leaks, something or other popped up a few weeks ago where it looked like Rockstar was gearing up to do like a remaster or remake of the original Red Dead Redemption. Of course, on the internet, people took those little breadcrumbs and extrapolated on those very heavily to the point where people toss around the idea of a remake in the style of Red Dead Redemption 2, essentially having Red Dead 1 in Red Dead Redemption 2, which, I mean, it's far-fetched, but not insane, because the entire map of Red Dead Redemption 1 is in Red Dead Redemption 2. That's the whole thing people were going with. That it could have just been an update, essentially an update to Red Dead Redemption 2, and they could have resold it as a remake, that sort of thing. But, yeah, it's none of that. It's not a remake. It's not even a remaster. It's just a port to the Nintendo Switch and the PS4 of all consoles. But, yeah, I mean, it's cool, I guess, that it's coming out on the Switch because it was never on a Nintendo platform, so that's neat. And then it came out on PS4 because, of course, there's no backwards compatibility programs on the PS4 that would allow you to play your PS3 version of it on PS4 and therefore on PS5. Unlike the Xbox ecosystem where backwards compatibility was baked into, or not baked in, but rather added to the Xbox One, and then carried over to the series consoles, which is why it's not getting a new release on an Xbox platform. But the big kicker here is that it's going to be $50 friggin' dollars. Who in their right mind is going to spend $50 on a 13-year-old game that is not even remastered or updated in any way, except for new languages, of course. There is new support for several new languages, as I stated earlier. But, I mean, no. Who is this for? Quite frankly, I mean, it's who's doing this? Like, legitimately, is it just? I don't know who this is for. I just don't know. If you know who this is for, let me know in the comments below. And because I just have no clue where else to take this story, I don't understand the reasoning behind it. Like, if it were a remaster, cool. People are down for that. People would like to re-experience their favorite games with the new, fresh coat of paint. But this is just the same game with new languages for $50, 13 years later. It's an odd choice to me. It's an odd decision, I think. Our second news headline comes from Hayley Williams, not to be confused with the lead singer of the band, popular band, Paramore. This Hayley Williams is over at GameSpot. I am a little loopy today, if I'm being completely honest. I just feel like I am all over the place, but that's fine. More casual, and that's fine. Second news story from Hayley Williams over at GameSpot. Take-Two hints at late 2024 or early 2025 release for Grand Theft Auto 6. Once again, Hayley Williams, not to be confused with Hayley Williams from Paramore, who I love, and she can do whatever she wants to me, and I would be completely okay with that. Anyways, Hayley Williams from GameSpot. Take-Two's latest earnings report only has the barest direct mention of Grand Theft Auto 6, which says that active development is well underway on GTA 6. The same wording Rockstar used when it announced the game over a year ago. CEO Strauss Zelnick has dropped a hint that the company will be releasing something major in the 2025 fiscal year. However, which seems likely to be the highly anticipated GTA sequel. I feel like there's a minor grammatical error there, but that's fine. It's clear from Take-Two's forecasting that GTA 6 won't be released within the 2024 fiscal year, which ends on March 31st, 2024, though it was already unlikely that we would see the game that early. Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick hinted that the 2025 fiscal year, which runs from April 2024 to March 2025, would have a significant inflection point, which we believe will include new record levels of operating performance. It's highly likely that the inflection point refers to Grand Theft Auto 6's release as one of the most anticipated games currently known to be in production. So that's the long short of it. The fact that the Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick is expecting a lot of record levels of operating performance during that fiscal year. What other game could possibly provide new record levels of operating performance from the company that has Grand Theft Auto 5 still selling millions and still making millions from the microtransactions that are embedded throughout GTA Online? Obviously the sequel. There's nothing else that could even almost perform that well. Because not even Red Dead Redemption 2 sold nearly... I mean, it sold a lot, no doubt about that. But it did not sell nearly as much as Grand Theft Auto 5 has. And I just wanted to use this excuse to talk about Grand Theft Auto 6 for a moment. Because it's not massive news, because it's a lot of speculation rather than confirmation of anything, really. But I just want to talk about the fact that Grand Theft Auto 5... released 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, like a month, we're a month out from its 10-year anniversary. That's crazy. And the fact that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to come out potentially in the next year or two is insane to me. Because when that game comes out, that's a game that is going to last for another 10 years. Like, we didn't realize it 10 years ago when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out that this is the only Grand Theft Auto we're going to have for a whole decade. A decade plus. And that's insane to me. That's because yeah, no one expected, I don't think anyone expected Grand Theft Auto 5 to last as long as it has. I know I didn't. I played it during 2013 and I don't play it now because old game is old, but that's crazy that it is still kicking as much as it is. But yeah, so Grand Theft Auto 6, when that comes out, I hope you like it because it's the only Grand Theft Auto game you're likely to have for over a decade, considering how long these development times have been getting. So yeah, that's just crazy to think about. That's all I wanted to say about this news story. It's interesting because... yeah, that's a big deal. That's just crazy to me how long that game's probably going to be around for. So I hope it's good. I mean, obviously, how can it not be? They know how big of a deal Grand Theft Auto 6 is. So if they mess it up, they can't mess it up. It's one of those games that's just too big to fail. I know people say that about a lot of games, but Grand Theft Auto 6 especially is one of those games. Because if that fails, what are they going to do? They're expecting record levels of operating performance. If they don't hit those records that they're setting for themselves, that's oof. They know what they have to do with it. They have to make it as perfect as possible. So I hope they do. On to our next news story. This comes from Bungie.net, directly from the Destiny 2 team. And it reads, the headline reads as follows. Thank you, Commander. The future of Zavala's journey. Earlier this year, we lost Lance Reddick, the English language voice actor of Commander Zavala. The passion and professionalism Lance brought to the role over the last decade was unmistakable and loved by all. Lance's iconic voice led us through the most intense moments in Destiny's history, and his impact on our Guardians, our community, and Bungie as a whole will never be forgotten. Commander Zavala has been central to the story we have been telling since the original Destiny, and we have plans to continue his journey. Keith David, a prolific actor on the stage and in television, film, and games, will assume the English language voice of Zavala in the final shape and beyond. Separately, Lance's existing lines in-game will remain untouched for the upcoming release. On becoming the new Vanguard leader, Keith said, "I am honored to continue the great work of Lance Reddick as Zavala."
One of the great qualities of Zavala that really attracts me is his integrity and his sense of family. And I thought that Lance captured that wonderfully. And it is my intention to continue that work and to continue to bring that kind of integrity to the role. To all the fans, thank you for your support. Thank you for welcoming me into this family. Let's just continue to make this a great experience. Thank you.
Bungie is honored to continue the relationship that began with Keith during the days of Halo, and the team is excited for what he brings to the role of the commander. We will always remain respectful to the role Zavala has played thus far and look forward to the journey ahead. It's always tough to deal with an untimely death of an actor. But I do believe that this is the way that the Destiny 2 team is handling it is the best way possible. Because personally, I am never a fan of the actor has passed, so now the character also must pass as well. I'm never a fan of that because I do feel like that I feel like it limits the character's potential and can oftentimes cut a character's arc off too soon because obviously they have plans for Commander Zavala, therefore why they recasted him rather than just retired the character. And I didn't realize it until I read this last blurb that, yeah, this is Keith David, the voice of the Arbiter from Halo. You know, Bungie's last franchise. So that's pretty cool. Keith David's voice is just it has that same quality to it. And if there was anyone to take the role, it had to be Keith David. There's just no other choice, quite frankly. When you really stop to think about it, who else could it have been? There is no one else. But what I really like is that Lance's existing lines will remain untouched. That's what I like the most, honestly, that they're not going to re-record anything for consistency's sake. They understand the legacy that Lance left with the character and are continuing with Keith David for the future. I don't know how to segue into the next news story, I'll be honest. Just going to swing right into it, I guess. Last news story comes from GameInformer.com written by Brian Shea. And the headline reads as follows. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, officially revealed through teaser trailer. Earlier this year, Paramount teased that a video game based on the popular Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles graphic novel, The Last Ronin, was in development. While we haven't heard much since then, today's THQ Nordic Digital Showcase gave us a teaser trailer. Unfortunately, we did not get any looks at gameplay or additional information. In the Last Ronin graphic novel storyline, the final surviving member of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is on a quest for revenge in a ruined New York City. Both the trailer and the new synopsis point toward this being the case for the game as well. Who is the Last Ronin? In a future battle-ravaged New York, lone surviving turtle embarks on a seemingly hopeless mission seeking justice for the family he lost. From the minds of the creators of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and based on the best-selling comic book Event by Eastman, Waltz, Bishop, Delgado, and the Escorza brothers, the official video game adaptation of TMNT, The Last Ronin. According to Senior Vice President for Games and Emerging Media at Paramount Global, in his interview with Polygon back in March, TMNT The Last Ronin will be a single-player action RPG similar to the modern God of War series. The title will feature a mature tone, which should be exciting for fans of the comic series, but Rosen made it clear back in March that the game was years away from release. TMNT The Last Ronin does not currently have a release window, but is currently slated to come to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. I just wanted to bring this news story to attention because I think that that is a very cool game idea. Because I think that that comic line is a very cool idea. I have not read it because I just haven't gotten around to it. And I also just, I like TMNT, but I'm not like so diehard for TMNT, you know? I like the concept. I like the idea that it's a black and white comic, if you don't know. It's a black and white comic, and it's one turtle left. All the other ones are dead. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if we ever know what happened to them. You don't know which turtle is the surviving turtle because it's in black and white, and they have a black bandana now instead. It's really cool, and I would like to play a game based on that. Or I could read the book. I know I am, but I mean, if I can play a game based on it, I'd play the game, you know. But that is all of our news stories, and we still have some time to fill, which I prepared for. Don't you worry about that one bit. It is time for Starfield Watch. Roll the intro. Hi, how's it going, everybody? We're doing Starfield Watch. It's a segment within TalkAbout where we just talk a little bit about Starfield and what's going on with Starfield these days. You know, I'll be honest, I thought preloading happened for Starfield this past week. It did not, so I had to really scramble to figure out what to talk about in this little brief segment because I made the intro. It was very high quality intro, as you saw, very hard work I put into that. And yeah, preloading did not happen this past week. So all I have to say is that we are currently 18 days away from early access release, which we do have a official time for. I don't know if it was recently revealed or if I'm just really slow. But if you go to the Starfield Premium Edition upgrade page on the Xbox Store, you can see that the release date for the early access is August 31st, 2023, or is August 31st at 7 p.m. local time, at least for my local time. Obviously, it could change depending on your local time. So yeah, we are 18 days away from the early release of Starfield. Early access release. I'm going to say it, I'm not a fan of this early access business that has been happening a lot lately in the games industry, okay? Because I took off the week for Starfield, but I took that week off before they announced early access, and now I'm gonna just not be able to play the game for like a week because it comes out 6 days earlier. And so I can't really get into the game. I mean, obviously I'm going to play the game. I'm going to at least make my character. But man, I took off that week. It's like I took off the second week now. You know how it is. I just wish it didn't have early access is all I'm saying. I'd prefer it to be unspoiled for me because everyone's going to be talking about it on the internet. You know how people are. So I'm going to have to play it, but I'm not going to be able to play it for more than like an hour at a time, and that's going to be a bummer. You know what I mean. I hope you know what I mean. But if you're not getting early access, though, 2024, what? 24 days until September 6th, the official launch date. And we do have, if you go to the Xbox Store page, the file size for the download, which is pretty massive. And if you have an Xbox Series S, clear some space now. It clocks in at 125 gigabytes, so clear some space for that. It's the only game you're going to need for the rest of the year, so you should go ahead and do that. But is it the only game that you need for the rest of the year? Let me get out of Starfield Watch, play the outro. Okay, there was the outro. It's the same thing as the intro, but don't talk about it. Just don't worry about it. Is Starfield the only game you need for the rest of the year? Probably not, because Baldur's Gate 3 is apparently the biggest game ever made in the history of the world. It's the best game ever, apparently. And yes, we have a discussion topic as well, because I still don't feel like this episode's long enough. That's a new thing I'm trying. I'm trying to do news stories, Starfield watch, which is only going to last for like another 4 weeks, and then a discussion topic, because sometimes you see things on the internet and you just got to talk about it. And I want to talk about Baldur's Gate 3. And is it a Game of the Year contender? Apparently, if everyone would have you believe that it is. And I am here to say that, hey, maybe it is. Maybe it is. I haven't played it yet because I don't have a PC capable of playing it. But I'll play it on PS5. Since I've taken the week off for Starfield, I could also play some Baldur's Gate 3 on PS5, Multitasking. Put Baldur's Gate on one screen, Starfield on the other. Bada bing, bada boom. I'll figure it out. Probably not. I'll just swap back and forth. But everyone is saying that, it's the biggest game ever, best game ever made, best game of the year, better than Tears of the Kingdom. Because currently on Metacritic, it is 1 point above Tears of the Kingdom. And people have been throwing that all around. I'm just like, yo, let's relax, all right? I think this has a lot to do with recency bias, of course. That's always a big deal. And the fact that Baldur's Gate 3 only has 20 reviews, whereas Tears of the Kingdom has like 140 reviews. So yeah, the averages are likely to go down. And I personally think, this is like the most ignorant section possible because I haven't played the game, but I've seen a lot from it because I'm very interested in it. But based on everything I've seen from it, I can definitely see it getting RPG Game of the Year from a lot of places and getting a lot of places Game of the Year, of course. No doubt about that. But as the big Game of the Year at the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley show and all that, I still think Tears of the Kingdom is poised to be that, simply because it's more accessible to the masses, whereas Baldur's Gate 3 is a very deep, in the weeds RPG. Of course, that's only because I'm looking at it from the perspective of someone looking at this PC game. Once it comes to the PS5, maybe it turns out, hey, this is actually really accessible to everyone. Because I don't know what the PS5 port is going to play like, but everything I've seen is very, very particular, very intricate stuff that the nerdiest of the nerds would love, which is why I am very much looking forward to it coming out on PS5 so I can play it. I want to play this game very, very much. But where was I going? I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I always thought once Tears of the Kingdom came out, I was like, this is obviously a Game of the Year. Nothing could possibly top that unless Starfield lived up to all of the expectations everyone has on it. Then we would have a little race between Tears of the Kingdom and Starfield. But then all of a sudden, this Baldur's Gate, which everyone knew was coming, everyone knew what Larian was capable of with Divinity Original Sin, but it just kind of took everyone by surprise, because it's also been in early access for so long as well. So I guess it was just under a lot of people's radars until the official release, which, as you can now see, as I mentioned, a 97 on Metacritic so far. I do think that that's going to go down because I have seen a lot of, just from people's gameplay streams, I've seen errors and bugs and stuff, just things that would detract from it if you got a larger review pool. And on 20 critic reviews, you're just not going to get that. I did see the user score is also at a 9.0, which very good, of course. I did see this negative review on the Metacritic page that just says, I couldn't even get it to install. Massive technical oversights I can't recommend. And they gave it a 0. And I see these kind of reviews all the time. And it's like, why? You're not rating the game a 0. You're rating your experience a 0. Because you didn't even play the game if you can get it to install. What are you rating? Not the game. So why are you leaving a review? I see that all the time. And if you go look for that now, you will see that and you'll think the same thing. All of this to say, Baldur's Gate 3 is suddenly a dark horse in this Game of the Year competition, in this Game of the Year discussion. And I'm a little nervous, I'll be honest. I don't like the fact that there are people out there, and I'm not going to name any names, but you know who I'm talking about because it's been all over twitter.com or x.com, whatever you want to call it. It's been all over there that there are people who are essentially using Baldur's Gate 3 to weaponize it against other developers, and I just hate that. I hate that. It's a really bad look for that person, and they're just, it's like they don't realize how big their platform is and how many perceptions they are warping with that. Because no, not every game can be this. Anyways, I don't want to get too into that because, man, that just really annoyed me. And I lost my train of thought again. Baldur's Gate 3, is it Game of the Year? Is it your Game of the Year? I don't know. I'm going to end this video. I got a little off track. I don't know where my train went. It went off. Yeah, I went off the track. Very clever. I did that on purpose. But yeah, what did you think of the news stories of this past week? It was a pretty slow news week. That's why I introduced Starfield Watch and the introduction of discussion topics for the second half of the show. How did you like it? What are your thoughts on Baldur's Gate 3? Have you been able to play it yet? Do you have a super souped up PC to play it? Or are you waiting for the PC release? Nope. Are you waiting for the PS4 release? I'm waiting for the PS5 release. Jeez Louise. Oh my God. I'm going to leave all of that in because it's comical, I feel. But yeah, I didn't even mention that it's not on Xbox One or it's not on Xbox Series consoles because it has issues running on the Series S. Whoa. That seems like a big deal. That's going to potentially shift the industry a bit because a lot of people were a little nervous about the Series S when it was announced, saying it was potentially underpowered at the time. And ooh, boy, is there egg on Microsoft's face right now because of the console parity that they have between X and S. They don't want the X version to release with a feature that the S version doesn't have, so that's why it's not releasing on Xbox anytime soon, because it can't run split screen apparently on the Series S. So I feel like Microsoft is currently out there helping Larian with that, so I don't know how that's going to end up going. I hope that they figure it out, because if they don't figure it out, then what's going to happen is that the Series S isn't going to have feature parity, and then people are going to be like, told you the Series S was holding people back, told you. And that's just going to be a nightmare on the internet that day. But anyways, I was supposed to end this like 2 minutes ago, so we're going to do that now. Once again, what are your thoughts on the news stories? What are your thoughts on Baldur's Gate 3? Or have you been playing it? Are you able to play it? Are you waiting to play it? Let me know all of that in the comments below. And Starfield, right around the corner. Very exciting. Very exciting. Until the next week of TalkAbout, stay safe and play some video games. And also, watch the video essay when it comes out. Go hit the notify me button and all that. See you later. See you there. Because that's the next video that comes out from me. Very exciting. Very exciting. Yeah. Stay safe and play video games.